Andy, it's days like today on a Friday, as in early December, when I'm reminded of one of my favorite U2 songs. It's
Oh,
Ultraviolet. I feel like trash, you make me feel clean. I'm in the black, can't see or be seen. Baby, 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 light my way. Uh-huh. Baby, 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 light my way. So, Andy, I do feel like trash. I'm not sure if it's COVID. I'm not sure if it's the flu or it's just the fact that I'm weak and feeble in my older state, that I can't take the diseases anymore. But you light my way, Andy. I'm
thank
here
you.
for you on this podcast on a
Wow.
Friday. It's our third pot of the week. I'm super excited, Andy.
Wow. I mean, to start this Friday out, being sort of serenaded, I guess, with the two track. I mean, thank you for starting my day out on the right note, Dave. I appreciate it. I'm sorry you're not feeling as good as you'd like to here on this December 8th, but I'm glad you're with us. I'm glad you're with us today.
Yeah, well, this is where I want to be, Andy. I want to be here with you and having these discussions. So, Andy,
America wants you here. America wants you here, Dave.
yeah, this is true. Hey, our audience is getting bigger, Andy. We're growing as the podcast continues to pump out what we think is really fun
Of
content.
course.
As we talk about some of the news and our manliness, I guess. I don't know, men of a certain X, but our Generation X type of life. But Andy, I want to start off. We got a lot to talk through today. We got a debate follow up to go through. We've got some hot topics in the news, and
Yeah,
of course, we've got a Swifty moment that we must talk about.
let's go.
But first, let's start, Andy. On Monday, we kicked off our 3 day a week podcast, and you shared some news with us. You shared some news that you had shared wider over the previous weekend about some things that you're going through personally. You want to follow up with some of that, Andy? How'd that go?
I do want to say, thanks to everybody that's reached out, and it's always appreciated. Support, encouragement is really great. And I just want to kind of talk about that point for a minute. We spent a lot of time. We touched a little this on Monday. Talking about negative groups, echo chambers. Running down rabbit holes of craziness, and we touched on the idea that it's equally important to have groups that can pick you up, right? And that's family. Hopefully, most people have family support systems. Not everybody does. That's friends. But it's also other positive communities that can help build us up. And so I'm real appreciative to the community that Arnold Schwarzenegger's been building, and with his newsletter community, with his app. Just it was an unbelievable outpouring of support. We mentioned that there's going to be that post coming on Monday morning. It did come, and it was just tremendous outreach from people. Just encouragement, support, kind words. It was overwhelming, and it was genuinely appreciated. And as much as I appreciate Arnold, Ketch, Bourne, the guys running that community, I think it's a great testimony to the importance of finding ways to surround yourself with positivity, right, wherever that is. And for the times that are hard, for the times you need encouragement, for the times you need to pick me up, we've got a people in our lives that can pick us up. Dave, thank you for encouraging me always. I've got a great family that supports me. I've got generous friends, but it's nice to be able to go somewhere and feel like, hey, this is a positive place. And I think it's important we find those in our lives, because if we only go to places and corners of the internet where we're tearing down, politicians, and we're tearing down every news story, we're tearing down even our favorite sports teams, just all hate and anger. That breeds a different sort of mentality that isn't healthy. So I just, again, my thanks to the village, to Arnold and his team, but I encourage everybody to try and find a community that is positive and encouraging and helping us get better every day that we go along. For me, I really like, the Arnold community, but there's others out there as well that you can find something that fits your interests, your lifestyle, but find something, I think, that can build you up and help us grow. And so I think that would be that was a big takeaway for me. But yeah, so it was pretty cool. It was a cool newsletter write up. It was again overwhelming to see that, but it was a lot of fun, Dave.
Yeah, the newsletter write up was really good, and I put a post on it on to my X account, my Twitter account.
Yeah.
I know you posted on Threads and such, and I think it's really neat to see that. I don't want to drag on about it, but I do think like there's a really important part about that positivity, and again, in this snowflake culture, let's not confuse what we're really talking about. And look, there's hard times, and people need to make hard decisions, and life is just inherently hard.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be angry and bitter about everything on a day-to-day basis, maybe that's not the best approach. And maybe it is surrounding yourself with the positive cultures and the people who are going to reinforce and support you. That's why I love what Arnold is doing. A man of his stature, a man of his relevance in this world, he's using that to promote that positive lifestyle and really promote. He's not trying to tear anybody down. He's just trying to bring information to the forefront. He's trying to encourage everybody, and I think that's really great. And there are a lot of people who are doing this, by the way. And I think it's just really important that we continue to remind ourselves. So, Andy, we are supportive of all that you're going through right now. We've been friends for a very, very long time, and I'm just, we're here for you whenever you need it, and this community is always going to be supportive of you. So, with that, Andy, let's get into a couple other topics.
And maybe
Do you want to do the transition, Andy? Do you want to go
I mean,
there?
let's get some other topics, Dave, and I think we're going to get back to the idea of some communities of hate in just a minute too.
There we go. I think I had a little technical glitch there. I'm getting my connection is unstable. I need to find a better place. Andy, I know you redid your environment. I probably need to do mine too.
You sound good, Dave. You sound good.
Okay, well, we'll just go with that. I sound good. Okay, Andy. On Wednesday we talked about the debate. That was our Politics Wednesday, our Waste Wednesday. We talked about the debate. It happened. Early impressions on what you heard, what you saw, the clips that were out there. What are your takeaways from that debate?
Dave, I mean, it was. I think it was what we expected, right? We expected it to be a rancorous debate. They're going to come after each other. I think a few things. I think that I took out of that. One, it was really all guns at Nikki Haley. That really,
Yeah,
to me, says she is seen as besides Donald Trump, front runner. And people are realizing that right time is short to change that dynamic. And I think everybody came after her, except for Chris Christie. So we'll come back to that in a second. But I think she's really shown that she is the top dog right now in that group of four. Two, uh, Vivek, we talked about him a little bit the other day. Um,
VR.
VR, the guy is just like not likable whatsoever. I mean, he really, it's like he works hard to get those guys really like him, to really like him, and make everybody else in the country really hate him. And so again, coming back to Chris Christie, I think it was really the quote of the debate where he says, this is, I can't remember how far into the debate it was. Well, he says it here in just a moment, but to quote, he says, "This is the fourth debate that you would be voted in the first 20 minutes as the most
Yeah,
obnoxious blowhard in America." I would concur. I would concur. I think Chris
yeah,
Christie did a good job there, right? And then just speaking about Chris Christie, I think the other takeaway I got was he really came out and was Chris Christie. He went after VR. He went after DeSantis. He did not go after Nikki Haley. He actually, in some cases, even came to her defense and helps fight back on behalf of Nikki Haley. As we said on Wednesday's pod, I could see Chris Christie sticking around a little bit longer. He's not doing terrible. I think he's third in New Hampshire right now. And I think part of it is I think he wants to stick around in hopes that Donald Trump will eventually have the balls to get on the debate stage with the group that's left.
yeah.
And I think he just wants to lay into him because he can tear you down hard, and he will. He will go after Trump and he will hurt Trump. And I think that's what he wants to do. And again, I think he's got an eye to, well, maybe, if it ends up being Nikki, maybe I can be her number two. And I think that's a possible outcome. So those are things that I saw in the debate. Again, didn't watch it live. I read the commentary, saw some clips. That was more than enough for me. So that was some of my thoughts. Dave, what about you?
Yeah, it was a lot of similar things. One is it was expected Nikki was going to get the bulk of the attention and all the attacks, and I think that just solidifies that she is the front runner. I mean, I know that there's a huge gap between her and Trump still. I'm going to be interested to see how that really plays out. Like, I think there's this idea when you go to the poll, you or when you do these polls. Is it really a reflection of what's really what the reality is or what they want it to be? And it's still so early to understand who people would really vote for. But I think this just gives Nikki more of the stage. And I think it's going to be interesting now that she's going to have to start flushing out some more of her policies and flushing out more of where she wants to go directionally, because I think she's in a really good spot. For Chris Christie, look, this is what we wanted to see out of him in 2016. I think, I mean, and for some reason he got derailed, he got sidetracked. Maybe it was all the Trump attacks on on everything that was going on and just what it was in 2016. But this is the type of politician that we expected to see then. It's a shame he's got the Trump stink on him a little bit because of those years with Trump and Trump badmouthed him and all that stuff. And so some of the followers are definitely there. So it'd be interesting to see that. I I guess I continue like VR. I don't expect him to be around much longer. He's barely polling anymore. He just seems to come out and say more outrageous stuff. After the debate, he continued to have throughout
Yeah.
these more conspiracies and the more just unfounded like unfounded statements about the aid to Ukraine, the accountability, and 9/11, all this other stuff that he keeps continuing to throw out. He's playing to a small niche, and look, that's just not a very viable voting base. So I'll be interested to see that. Ron DeSantis just continues. I think he's in a really interesting spot. I was reading some articles about it. Yeah, he doesn't want to come out against Trump because he wants Trump's voters. He wants those voters, but he doesn't want Trump in the race either. And it's going to be interesting because, like Nikki Haley, she's getting that support because some of the Trump voters some of them are with Trump and some of them are with DeSantis. And if DeSantis leaves the race, do they go to Nikki? I don't think DeSantis's base is Nikki's base. So it'd be interesting to see how that shifts over the next couple of weeks. But this is a critical time. I mean, New Hampshire, Iowa's just right around the corner. Then New Hampshire, we start getting into it. Democrats start with South Carolina, which was a throw to Biden. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Any other comments on the debates, Andy, or politics in general?
Yeah, just two. I think one, there is, it's not a lot of time, but in the world of polling and winning and losing, it is still a significant amount of time,
Yeah.
and there's still a lot of time for voters to really look at who do I want to support? Am I really going to support Donald Trump again, given everything that's going on, everything he's brought to the table, or do I want to change? And I think there's still a lot of time for them to choose a Ron DeSantis, to choose a Nikki Haley, to choose somebody else, and just in that sort of thought. Jeb Bush, you all always think of as Jeb exclamation point Bush. A Bush I don't hate. Just I want to say, yeah, but a Bush I don't hate. He was speaking on Wednesday as well, and he was making the same comment, Dave, that we've said and that others have said, which is, hey, if you're in your late 70s or early 80s, get off the stage. And he cited himself as part of the problem as well as a 70-year-old governor. He's saying, hey, it's time for a new generation of leadership. And Biden and Trump are not that. And it's time for us to make a change. And he's right. We've said this before. I'm glad to hear more leaders and people of prominence stand up and say, obviously, this is not who America wants and America needs right now. Nobody needs Joe Biden, looking like Skeletor out there, a very non-buff Skeletor. Nobody needs Donald Trump as a very chubby Skeletor, whatever you want to call them. They're old men and they need to get off the stage. And so I'm glad to hear Jeb say that. Dave, I'll stop there.
Yeah, we're equal opportunity here too, because that also applies to Nancy Pelosi, who's also announced that she's going to continue
Absolutely.
re-election. I mean, so
Yeah, absolutely.
get off the stage, Nancy. It's time to move on. I think we're beyond some of that part. So we're equal opportunity haters of politicians over the age of 70. So with that, Andy, let's transition to let's go to another topic. Awesome. I love that. I love it, Andy. I love it. Okay, so next topic is Andy.
Oh, man.
Time announced their Person of the Year
Yeah.
award, and really, was there any doubt? Was there any doubt that it would be Taylor Swift? I mean, this is a woman. Yes, she's a satanic cult leader. I get it. I understand. She is a practicing Muslim too, and she does all sorts of other crazy cultish type of things. But this is a woman who put together one of the perhaps I don't think I've seen a concert tour like what she did over the last 18 months, and she continues to do it now. The videos that have shown out about this, they cause earthquake tremors in
Yeah.
around stadiums because people, if you don't get tickets, that's okay. You just go outside the stadium and you party and do all this. Taylor Swift is generous. She donates to every location she's at. She's a kind-hearted person. Like, there's no doubt that and her music rocks, Andy. I'm sorry, but it might just be Taylor Swift Friday today. But Andy, Person of the Year, Taylor Swift, thoughts?
Yeah, Dave. So, Yeah, as you know, I'm not a huge fan of her music personally, but I appreciate her and what she does. And the reality is, Taylor Swift is an economic stimulus package, right? I mean, where Taylor goes, the economy explodes, right? Where Taylor goes, people follow. She has done a tremendous amount in this last year. She's in the news. I mean, probably more than anybody else right now, right? I mean, she is talked about every single day for her music, for her concert, for what she does in the local economy when she goes there, for her relationship with Travis Kelce. I mean, every single day. I personally think it's a great choice, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
She brings a positivity, she brings success, and she's like 33, right? 33, 34 years old. And I'd like to go just to make a point here, Dave, coming back sort of the groups we put ourselves in, right? And just the world of hate around it, because there was really a lot of hate around her selection, right? So first, if I can say, like, look at who Time has selected as Person of the Year or Man of the Year in the past, and for the most part, it's a bunch of assholes, right? I mean, it's oftentimes world leaders. They oftentimes suck, right? Whether it's presidents, uh, Vladimir Putin's been selected in the past. And I mean, you can get on the list here. There's some that stand out. Some business leaders. Some of them are assholes too. But it's a lot of folks that were infamous, right? Sometimes they stood up and did good things. I mean, Mikhail Gorbachev, fantastic, right? They're not terrible people, all around. But I think it's great to say that you don't have to be a U.S. president or world leader to be recognized as a significant contributor to society. And really, Taylor Swift has done that over the last year. She is the most talked about, very active, very positive, and generally, doing good things for America's economy. She's out there on the road. So, I saw some comments immediately after her pick was announced. People just hating on her, just absolutely hating on her. There was one. I'm not going to even reference the guy's name. I don't know him. I don't care for who he is. But I think it's a good example of some of the types of comments that are out there. And so this clown on the cesspool that is X, formerly known as Twitter, posts, "It's shameful and sad that a hyper promiscuous, childless woman (parentheses Taylor Swift) aging and alone with a cat has become the heroine of a feminist age." This is a angry,
What does
bitter.
that mean?
What does it mean? It means a bunch of nothing, right? But
Yeah.
again, aging, she's 33. We're all aging, douchebag, but she's 33. And right, for my seat in my mid 40s here, she's a very young woman still. I don't think you can really call her aging or old. Promiscuous, she's had boyfriends. She seems to be in a steady relationship. I don't know what the issue is there. Childless, yeah. I mean, yeah, okay, that's an interesting observation. But then to call her alone, I mean, again, she's in a very public relationship, but she's also traveling the world surrounded by 70,000 adoring fans every night, right? That are cheering along and singing along with her. It's such a stupid comment. So it's such an ignorant comment. And again, it's part of these corners of the internet and society that live and fuel hate and anger at
Yeah.
everything, everyone, right? So I was not surprised, but it's still disappointing to see these kinds of things. This guy, I hope I don't offend my friends and family in saying this. I have a lot of friends and family that wear beards. I know it's very popular today. For me personally, my first impression when I see somebody on the internet or talking on television or in real life with a very big, robust, long, well-groomed beard, my instinctive reaction is I probably am going to hate this guy. He's probably a douchebag. Not fair, totally a judgment statement. And again, I've got friends and family that sport such looks and I like them. But as a first take, when I see guys like this and this guy that made this post absolutely sports that look, my first assumption is that you're probably a douche and you're probably an asshole. And this guy fits the bill, I think, just based on his comment here. He might be a really great guy. Otherwise, I doubt it. But anyway, I think as we talk about communities of positivity, we've got to avoid communities of hate and anger, even as say, make these very sweeping general statements about people I'm looking at. So I'll stop there, Dave.
Yeah, we start with Taylor Swift and we wound up with getting Andy's position on beards. By the way, I am also in line with you. I don't quite understand the high and tight haircut, but then the long beard and all that other. Maybe it's that hipster look that might be going out, or the mountain man look. It's
I think
funny.
I think it really spins out of military. I think it really came out of Dave
Yeah,
when
yeah,
we saw the SF look with guys with beards, big, strong, tough guys running around in Afghanistan and elsewhere with beards, and we're like, oh, I'm gonna cop that look. But you're not a
yeah,
special forces soldier serving, in Afghanistan, putting your life at risk. You're sitting at the bar drinking your Michelob, being a douchebag. So anyway, Dave, I'll stop there. But can I make a quick shout out, Dave? I'd like to just acknowledge something here. We've talked about Mama Jabor in the past, and I just want to say, she likes to have these blog posts that she shares. That now as she gets older, she's a post. My 7-year-old eyes, and she has been a Taylor Swift enthusiast along with you, Dave. She was calling her out back in August, as just as recently as that, for being such a positive, again, economic stimulus package as she travels around. So hats off to Mama Jabor, who anticipated time selection of Taylor Swift as Person of the Year. So kudos to you, my mother, and kudos to you, Dave, and all Swifties that are out there for this recognition. I'm happy for, what do you guys call yourself? Swift Nation, the Swifty universe, whatever you are. Congratulations.
I just prefer Swifty, and I am like, look, Andy, if you're really in the know, you'll go by your era. I'm 1989. So let's just keep Mama Jabor. I'm interested to hear what your era is, Mama Jabor. So please shout out, let us know. All right, Andy, we've talked enough about Taylor Swift and beards, so that's good. Let's move on. Two more things we got to get to, but we got a little tight on time, Andy. So let's hit these two pretty good.
Right.
Big news this week. Three presidents from the Ivy League were in Congress, and they were asked very pointedly about genocide. Do they consider individuals who talk about genocide and the Jewish people to be harassment or acceptable behavior on their campuses? All three of them roundly failed in their responses and tried to put some, I'll put context around it, when in fact there is no context around it. Now, all three of them are under fire. Penn, the most. They're at the center of the firestorm. A lot of people are pulling back support, demanding the firing of the president. At Harvard, this president has been under fire for several months now under a lot of different things. Be interesting to see how they. But again, quick mea culpas from all of them when their people got him off out of the Congress. They quickly crowded him and said, "Hey, we got to correct this because you made some dumb fucking statements." Okay, so Andy, what were your thoughts around this as you saw this play out?
Yeah, I thought it was pathetic, Dave. I
Yeah,
thought it was absolutely pathetic. So one, we've got to be clear. It's a very straightforward question that
right.
really should invite a very straightforward answer. So the question asked by one of the congressmen there, congresswomen, I should say, is she directly asked. She said specifically, calling for the genocide of Jews. Does that constitute bullying or harassment? I mean, it's a direct question, right? So one, what is genocide, right? The deliberate killing of a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group with the aim of destroying that nation or group. Pretty direct question. Obviously, a call for violence. Yes, there's free speech, right? So I want to caveat this. There's free speech, meaning the government of the United States cannot stop you from saying things that you want to say, right? That doesn't mean we can say whatever the hell we want to say anywhere all the time, right? And even that has
Without consequences.
there are consequences, but a business, a school can put restrictions on that for a variety of reasons. And listen, if I went on a college campus and I said, as an Arab, right, I want to see the extermination of all Arabs, that would be tolerated, right? If somebody got on the platform and said, hey, I want to see the genocide of the gay community, that would not be tolerated. If some Klansman gets on a stage and calls for the annihilation of Black America, that would not be tolerated. And so for this question, do you calling for the genocide of the Jews, does that constitute bullying or harassment? Yes. I mean, the answer is obviously yes. That's not acceptable. We cannot call for the death of millions of people, right, on a college campus where there are people hearing that could be incited to violence. But it's not acceptable behavior on the campus, right? It's definitely bullying or harassment, right? You can argue that they should be allowed to say it. I don't think you should be saying that, really, because you're calling for violent actions there. But it's definitely harassment. It's definitely bullying, right, of a particular people group. It's wrong, and I think it's trying to weasel your way out of that. Bad call. So I think it was a huge fail. I know there's some people that disagree with me on that, and you might disagree with me, Dave. But yeah, bad move.
Yeah, I think it's just really it was pathetic, really. I mean, here you have leaders of young men and women, and what you're having them in this opportunity to take a stand and very much unequivocally stated certain position. They failed. They failed at that chance, and frankly, Andy, when I see a failure of leadership to that degree, there's no other option. Those individuals need to be removed from their positions. They're not capable. They've clearly exhibited the inability to to lead in those moments. And I think it's every right for the boards, for the students, for the parents to demand, alumni to demand their resignations. And I think all of them have been at this point. You can defend and say, well, they have a history of this. Well, in that moment of time when they were put on the stand to say yes or no, they failed in those positions. And I think and they're being properly ridiculed for it. If it were you or I and any other citizen in that position, I think if we did those within our workplaces, it would have been a different path as well. And I think, look, we just cannot stand for that kind of stuff. And look, I support everything you said. There is free speech, and we have to protect that free speech. But that doesn't mean there aren't consequences for that. And I do think that there should be some opportunities. Andy, I know we're tight on time here, but so we had one other topic we're going to get to, but I think Andy, let's pause that and push that to next week.
All right.
We got a lot of things. We covered a lot of different things today. We went through the debates. We went through Taylor Swift. We went through this Harvard the congressional hearing. A lot of things in. I think it was a pretty good week. What do you think?
I think, Dave, it was a great, start to this 3 times weekly pod. Glad we could do it this way. I think it's a good call. We'll save some Christmas festivities for next week, which is great as we get closer to the holiday season here. I'm super excited. We're in the holiday season, really. Dave, can I throw one more last comment out before we leave for the
Of
day?
course, it's floor
So
yours.
just in stupid things people say, I think it's worth highlighting. My youngest son sent this to me yesterday, and I was reading about it this morning. And I just want to go to Bills coach Sean McDermott, right? Who, in
Oh
trying to
man.
fire his team up, what an ass move. To cite in a great example of teamwork, Coach McDermott referenced the 9/11 hijackers, coming together as a great team to overcome challenges. What the hell? I know it's a high pressure job. I know there's, moments where we all have brain farts, but listen, the 9/11 hijackers are never the reference point you want to make in any sort of positive discussion, right? That was an absolute moron moment for a guy whose team is struggling. They're not performing where they need to be. It's like he's begging to get canned. So, Sean, I'm sorry, man. Bad move. I know he's apologized for it. I know he recognized that it was a stupid move. No hard feelings on it, but dude, like what a dumbass moment.
Andy, at what point do you reference like that type like, hey, I know I'm gonna fire up my guys. I'm gonna say 9/11 hijacks. Hey, let's throw in Hitler, Mussolini. I don't know. We'll throw in a lot of other people in
Ooh.
here. Let's I mean, yeah, that maybe
Go
we should have
Bills.
maybe we should have a segment here, Andy, of like the dumb quote of the week or something like that. It's something. I mean, that good way to wrap up this first week,
Yeah.
Andy.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, good luck. Good luck to your Cowboys. I hope they lose Monday night or Sunday night against Philly. And I'm cheering the Lions on against the Bears this weekend. So we'll come back and talk that on Monday. Dave, thanks for a good week. I'll stop talking.
Yeah, just real quick on that Cowboys game. This is exactly where the Cowboys lull you in. You're like, hey, we're playing great. The Eagles are not playing great. We're going to get waxed 38-14 or something. I don't know. It's going to be embarrassing. But let's go Cowboys. And I'm still looking forward to the Cowboys Lions matchup in a couple weeks. With that, Andy, we'll catch up with you next time.